Hello, this is Dr. Harris. Welcome to week 2 of the tech writing course. And today I just wanted to walk you through what we're going to be doing in week 2, starting with the Blackboard announcements page. I'm just going to go ahead and open up the syllabus tab to open up our website and walk you through the assignments for week 2. We're going to have two basic activities. The first one is going to be the 2.1 brainstorming discussion board. So we started with the introductory discussion board in week 1. So you had a little bit of opportunity to practice the conventions of discussion boards for this class. In week 2, we're going to do the discussion board that we use to brainstorm the major formal report for the class. So first I'm going to take you through the formal report assignment so you know what you're going to be brainstorming, and then I'm going to talk about the discussion board itself. So if you go into the assignments tab on the website and go down to report, there are actually 3 subcomponents of this report as well, but what I'm going to start talking about is the report itself, what you'll be writing coming up. I think that's due in week 9. So clicking on the report link itself will take you to a description, week 10, that's due, of the formal report. So I'm going to walk you through this description quickly and then talk about the pieces, and then finally the discussion board you're going to do in week 2. The formal report is a pretty key component of any technical writing situation. And for this practice report, it should focus on a local problem or issue that you're going to research, and the solution will be something that you've researched to solve a problem or to address that issue. So if you look on the assignment, there are 3 steps. The first step is to identify that a problem exists and convince your audience of the seriousness of the problem. Secondly, you'll research potential solutions for the problem. And thirdly, you'll propose a solution that you believe best addresses the key issues of that problem. Further on down here, you'll see the description of what you'll be writing for the report. On page 326 and through 337, you'll see a sample formatted report of what yours will look like with a few differences. But what I wanted to say to prepare for what we're going to do in week 2 is this little caution area, and that is steer clear of what I call the heart attack report. It's one that's very broad, very general, that applies not to a local situation but to a number of different issues. So, in other words, a lot of people have heart attacks, and this is a problem. But we already know the solution. If we Google it, it probably comes up at the top of the page, and that is diet and exercise will help prevent that. So what you want to steer away from is a very broad problem that has either an already recognized or very difficult solution. So you want to stick with something a little bit more local. What we're going to be doing in week 2 with that assignment 2.1 discussion board is brainstorming for this project. So what you're doing in week 2 is preparing, working with classmates to try to get your ideas out there, to try to get kind of an outline of those first 3 pieces. The first thing you'll do after that will be to write a proposal for that. So this brainstorming session really sets you up for the proposal. And if you go under assignments, that report link, and then the proposal, you'll see what the components of that research proposal will be. So in short, you're going to be writing the big report in week 10, but we're going to be doing pieces of it, and the first piece is the week 4 proposal. So review kind of what you're going to be doing in that proposal before you start on the week 2 discussion board. We'll also do a progress report halfway through the space of writing that report. That'll be due in week 6, and you can review that as well. And then finally, you're going to be doing a peer review of someone else's formal report after you submit yours. So many pieces in that assignment. It will do you good before you start in the 2.1 discussion board to just review all the items under that report button and assignments. What I want to go to in particular for this week is back up to discussion boards and activities and go to that 2.1 brainstorming discussion board. And I want to point out you can either get to it through the assignments button off of the syllabus, or you can go through the schedule as I just did and click on that and get to that description as well. And that description links you back, if you look here, to the components that you'll probably need to review before you start working on the discussion board for week 2. So basically, to complete the week 2 activity, you're going to be pitching what you think you might want to do. I know a lot of you think that discussion boards are pretty frustrating. This is a one that students have found really, really helpful because they can get feedback from others before they have to start pitching this larger report. So what you'll do is, again, 2 steps. You'll have an initial post and then responses to classmates. For the first initial post, what you're going to do is tell us what you think you're going to do for your report. As much detail as you possibly can. Identify the issue, identify what research you might do. Reviewing the guidelines for the proposal will kind of help you understand, I'm going to click on that really quick, what you can be pitching. So if you want to kind of do these 5 steps, you don't necessarily have to have data sources at this point, but you could say, I think I'm thinking about interviewing this person or looking at this source online. You can do that in this part as well. But basically what we're doing in week 2 is just getting our feet under us. We'll have 2 more weeks before that proposal's due, but this is a good idea to start really thinking about what you want to do. So once you post what you think your idea is, I'd like you to respond to at least 2 of your classmates. And again, when I say respond, you're looking for depth, so engaging them in discussion. So pick out 2 of the other classmates' ideas and help them develop their project. So we're posting multiple times to fewer students instead of fewer times to multiple students. So pose questions that help them develop their ideas. Kind of challenge them. What do you see might be difficult, or how might you see that they could shift it to make this a better project? Sources they might want to visit to research their ideas. I found previously in this class, students, especially in the same kind of area, have a wealth of knowledge about that area, and they might be able to pitch ideas that other students hadn't thought about. And then comments about areas you find well planned or confusing. Do you think that it might be difficult for them if they pitch this idea to make it really work? Are there going to be time constraints, or do you think they have just a really well thought out piece, but maybe need to work more on other areas? And then before you start doing the discussion board, make sure that you read this think about it area, because this is going to walk you through what I'm going to be looking for when I look at your discussion boards to assess and evaluate those. So this is what you really should be doing for this project. So that's 2.1. Let me know if you have any questions. I want to talk really quickly about the other activity this week, which is activity 2.2. This should be a little bit shorter. Common writing mistakes. So the first activity is really for developing and building on a larger project. The second activity this week is going to be for thinking about writing clearly and concisely for technical communication. And it also gives you an opportunity to practice doing a Google Doc. So under the assignments tab, I went down to discussion boards and activities to that 2.2 common writing mistakes. You can also access that off of the schedule tab over here. But it will give you an opportunity to practice using Google Docs so you understand how to use them before we get into a little higher stakes assignments, especially the proposal, the progress report, and the peer review. So this will give you an opportunity to look over that. This seems like a very simple assignment. It might take a little bit longer than you think. I want you to read Chapter 7, work through any of those activities in the chapter that you think you might struggle with for those common mistakes, and then finally submit the activity on page 118. So there's a letter and a memo that it's going to ask you to rewrite small passages of using those concepts from that chapter to kind of get you into writing in the clear, concise, fluid, and personable way that technical writing requires. And again, here's your think about it so you can kind of review what I'm going to be looking for in the assignment as well. Finally, just a couple of notes. In the schedule area, I had some questions about scheduling. I fixed some deadlines in week 2. Thanks for catching that. I had a wrong deadline. I said January 23rd instead of the 26th. And then each week, if you see when you have multiple activities, and I can't do it because of the way that these columns are formatted in this, whatever the activity is here, it will be directly across from that. So there were some questions about which activities went with which due dates, and they should line up. Hopefully they look the same in your browsers as they do in mine. If not, we'll have to do some modification. I'll be working this week, probably starting on Tuesday or maybe tomorrow night to respond to all of your introductory emails. Those are due Sunday night, and also to grade your first discussion board so that you'll see what grading on that discussion board looks like before you get into the second discussion board this week. So I'm hoping to get a lot of that done Monday night and Tuesday morning, so to meet that Wednesday deadline, but hopefully by Wednesday morning at the latest finish up that. The holiday weekend's kind of throwing off my normal schedule. So if you have any questions, as always, please email me. And I look forward to reading your formal and informal introductions and getting to know you better as well. Have a great week, and thanks for being in the class.